Hi, everyone, and welcome to our blog. I am Jim Cuervo, Senior Trainer and Support here at Digital Drafting Systems. The following is an excerpt from our webinar on what is new in AutoCAD 2024. Please do not hesitate to drop us a line should you have any questions. Enjoy our presentation. Have a great day. We have some interesting little options and improvements that have been made in the welcome screen of the AutoCAD. We will be looking at a couple of things. One of them is going to be the new sorting and how that works, both in the grid mode and in the list mode. We will also be looking at the search options, which basically are having the kind of the same kind of influence on the grid or list mode. And last but not least, as far as the welcome screen is concerned, we will be looking at some changes at the Autodesk Docs, which you can see right here through this section right here. It's been renamed. It's no longer Autodesk Docs. It's now called Autodesk Projects. We'll take a look at how that's actually behaving and what it actually looks like. Very well, let's take a look then at the welcome screen. We'll take a look at the sort, followed by the search, and then we will go into the Autodesk projects. Very well, this is our welcome screen, and it's kind of the same, but there's a few changes that we want to actually point out very specifically. In this particular view, we're looking at the grid view, which is identified this way. Okay, now if we look at this, we have the list view here icon, which we can select. We have the grid view in blue, which means it's the current view. Then we have sorting, and across we have search, and then we have search settings. But look at what's going on here. You see that it's actually saying it's only available in list view. So the ability to go ahead and customize the look of this is only available for the list view, which is this one. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at what the list view will actually do for us. Okay, in the list view, everything is actually arranged in columns. Okay, and in the columns, we have the ability to, through this icon, which is, as you can see, now available because we are in the list view, we have the ability to go ahead and customize what we see. And the way that we can customize what we see is that we have these two over here that are optional, the file of type, which is this one right here, and the last opened, which is this one right here. Okay, they can be turned on and off by just selecting or deselecting these little check marks right here. Okay, and you will see that they actually appear or disappear accordingly. Now, that is the options for the amount of columns that you see. Once in the columns, you have a whole bunch of series of things that you can actually do. For example, here in this list, you can reverse the order by going to the up and down arrow here. Okay, you can do the same in the last opened, which is giving you the dates of the last time that the particular drawing was actually opened up. And once again, you can reverse it or straighten it out to go as default search or list or sorting. In the files of type, we have two files of type. Okay, so we understand this particular icon right here, as you can see, looking at the little help tip that it shows us, it's giving me a local path. You see that? See, okay. In this one here, it's giving me an Autodesk Docs path. So this is cloud-based and this is local-based, okay? So that's how you understand these items here. We will also see how this is actually being used in the grid mode, okay? Following that, we have the pin option, in which we can actually pin the particular drawing, in this case, on the position in here in the list that we have. And on the three little dots here, okay, what we do have here is the ability or options to make it open it either as a standard opening. Basically, you can edit it as much as you want. You can open it as read-only. It doesn't matter what you do. You cannot save it. You can only save it as a different name, or you can remove it. And this is the key point here: remove it from the list. That does not mean erase the file. It means just remove it from this list that is here, okay? Continuing on, since we're in the list, let's take a look in searching in the list. Here in this section, if we actually click in, we have some pre-saved search criterions. All drawings that start with BL or have the letters BL in them. If I select this one, which is a pre-save, it'll go ahead and actually go ahead and show us exactly what those files are going to be. And if you notice, it's kind of hard to actually see this, but you'll notice that the BL here at the beginning is actually in bold letters, indicating that that fulfills this particular search pattern. You see that? If I switch it by Xing out this one and going to the J's, for example, there's a J, and let's go ahead and add a JI. See, as you can see, just because it's a J doesn't mean that it's going to actually show it. You most likely would like to add the second letter to the particular search pattern that you're looking for, okay? Which is that's what this is, okay? The search. So if I can exit out, everything goes back to normal, all right? So now we've seen the search in the list view. We've seen the options for the columns on also the list view. So now let's take a look at the grid view. In the grid view, everything becomes basically a bitmap. This is an image. You're not really looking at your drawing. You're looking at an image that was taken the moment you saved it. This is not your drawing, okay? Very much like the old days. If you guys remember, some of the old timers remember, like myself, of course, remember when we used to have a fatal crash, and it would tell us, do you want to erase? And there was like nothing left in the screen. And it asks you if you want to save before it closes it because it's crashing, and you saved it and there was nothing on the screen. You just erased everything. And so when you went back to open up the file, you had this little thing, and you say, hey, wait a minute, the file's still there. That's what I'm trying to say. This is not your file. This is just a little bitmap, okay? Once again, you have the ability to pin it or not, okay? You have the ability to go ahead and open it as open read only, or remove it from the list. And you have the item here, or the icon here, that shows you exactly what type of file this is. And when I say type, I'm not talking about DWG versus PDF. We're actually talking about local file versus cloud-based files, okay? So now that we've seen that, if we come back over here to the search, we have the same search criterion that we had in the list, okay? The same thing. If I select BL, it shows us exactly what they are. But notice what's in this one. I found this really interesting, is that in this one, it kind of highlights it. But in the list mode, it bolds it. It's really interesting. Either way, it's actually highlighting the specific letters that you're using for your query in your search patterns, okay? I can, once again, just like before, I can exit out and it gives me the list back. And remember, because we are in grid mode, this ability to change the amount of columns and things like that is not available. But if we look at the sort by, notice that if there is no sort by in list because it's sorted by the columns. So if I go to the grids view, okay, it's now sorting by last opened. If I open this up here, I have names and it gives me the names. You see that? Okay, so you have two options for sorting. You have sort by name and sort by last open. Once again, just like in the grid mode with our columns, these are reversible with the use of this little icon right here, okay? So with this, we have seen what the new recent changes have been for the sorting and for the search. Let's take a look at the project space and see how all of this is actually affecting the Autodesk projects. Let's remember, Autodesk projects, in reality, it is still the Autodesk docs, okay? That has not changed. The only thing that has changed here is the way we actually identify those projects that are cloud-based, putting them in the Autodesk projects, okay? So if we select the Autodesk projects here, we have a listing. We have a listing of lists. Sounds redundant, but yes, this is a list of my lists. And then we have the grid mode. So we have the list mode and the grid mode, just like we did in recents. We'll go back into this in a couple of moments because I'd like to explain this secondary panel that appears here. Okay, in this panel, the very top section is actually identifying the companies with which you are associated with. So there could be a list of companies up here that you could be associated with. So you can go to any one of them, and it will automatically, by selecting the name of the company that you want to be looking at, it will give you the list of all of the projects to which you have access to within that company that you have a link to, okay, or are associated with. So my association, this is my access, okay? If I actually look at some of these, as if we're looking in here, we'll see that it's giving me a full path here in the actual presentation of the drawings, okay, that are available in the cloud. Okay, this is the path of the cloud of where the location of the particular project is, and these are all of the files that are located in this particular folder. Okay, this is last year's presentation, and I decided to use it because it makes a lot of sense for us to go ahead and see how this has actually been improving slowly but surely in every issue. Okay, in the sorting, once again, we have a lot more sorting here. You can sort by name and authors, by size, by versions, who locked it, who date that it was locked, the date creation of on disk, the date modified on disk, and the date created on Autodesk Docs. This is basically when this particular file was created in the cloud, it will give you that date. Okay, once again, all of these are also reversible. And we have, once again, the options for the list, but once again, it's on the list mode only. So let's go ahead and switch to the list mode and see what this looks like. And once again, because it's the cloud-based, it's giving you a little bit more flexibility as how you sort these columns out, okay? You can go ahead and add them or subtract them. For example, I don't want to see the author. It's actually myself, so I don't want to see it. I can take it off, or I can bring it back up. It doesn't matter, okay? You will also notice that when I take the author off, the date lock is also taken off. You see that? That's actually pretty interesting, all right? So, very interesting little item there happening. Once again, we have the ability to reverse the orders. Same thing here, and reverse the version. Notice what happens. This is actually showing you the versions just like it would in Docs. That's what's really looking at here. Okay, that's what you're looking at. And this section in here, once again, is locked by, and you have the option to actually reverse the order, as I said before. But what's more interesting to me is the fact that you can still have the open read only, or refresh. Notice that in the other one, you cannot delete it from the list. This is the list of the cloud. You cannot delete that one. You can refresh it, but you can't delete it. Okay. That is a very important difference between the recent versus the Autodesk projects. Very well. Moving forward, we have now seen the sort by name or last open. We've seen the search by names and improvements, and we've seen the Autodesk projects and how all of these items actually are affecting each one of these particular ways of viewing your projects that you have access to.